Chinese state-run media has challenged the United States, claiming that the J-20 stealth fighter is more than a match for American F-22 Raptor. An article regarding the J-20's capabilities featured in the South China Morning Post, or SCMP. Viewers may note that the media outlet is essentially under the control of the Chinese Communist Party and is basically a propaganda arm. The title of the South China Morning Post article read, "America's F-22 stealth fighter may be limited in Asia-Pacific conditions," China's J-20 designer says. The SCMP article cited a claim reportedly made by J-20 designer Yang Wei that the F-22 was designed to fight in Europe and that it would potentially struggle against homegrown aircraft in the Asian-Pacific combat environment. Wei recounted that McDonnell-Douglas F-4 Phantom and implied the venerable aircraft was designed to fight the Russians, resulting in having a harder time in the Vietnam War. Wei wrote, "The complex environment and political constraints in Vietnam caused the F-4 to almost fail to show its high-speed performance over the horizon combat capabilities." Though Yang did not actually make a comparison between J-20 and F-22, but included commentary by Song Zhongping, a military commenter in Hong Kong, who said the J-20's biggest advantage was that it was developed later, meaning it would have strengths built off the F-22's weaknesses. He said in a statement, "China's J-20 was inspired by the F-22's deployment. The Chinese aircraft designers used the Raptor as a rival and the F-35 stealth multi-role fighter as a tactical opponent to help them to come up with a more practical and capable fighter jet." The article didn't mention that most of the capabilities of J-20 are not the result of actual R&D, but were stolen from F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II designs and reverse engineered from Russian fighters. For example, NSA, or National Security Agency of the US, concluded that the Chinese compromised key components of F-35 that include AN/APG-81 active electronically scanned array radar, methods used by the turbine to cool gases emitted by F-35's engine, as well as other heat reduction techniques. But we all know a copy is unlikely to be as good as the original, and this is precisely the case with J-20. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes why Chinese state-controlled media proclaiming Chengdu J-20 is better than American F-22 Raptor is nothing but propaganda. Let's get into the details. This video is sponsored by the free-to-play military vehicle combat game War Thunder. We talk a lot about military vehicles on this channel, but what about trying them out for yourself? In War Thunder, you can choose from more than 1,200 playable vehicles from the 1930s to the 1990s and go to battle on more than 80 theaters of war. You can fly aircraft, helicopters, drive tanks, and command ships of all types and sizes, which have been carefully recreated from their real-world counterparts. It's available as a free download on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One with cross-platform support. So grab your friends and give it a try. All viewers of Defense Updates that register using the link in the description below will also get a free premium tank, aircraft, or ship and 3 days of premium account time as a bonus. F-22 Raptor is the first operational aircraft to combine super cruise and super maneuverability. Super cruise is the ability to have sustained supersonic flight without having to use the highly inefficient afterburners. With this, F-22 can intercept targets which subsonic aircraft would lack the speed to pursue, and an afterburner-dependent aircraft would lack the fuel to catch. This is possible due to very powerful dual Pratt & Whitney F-119 PW100 afterburning turbofan engines. F-22 has a speed of Mach 1.82 during supercruise. Chinese J-20 uses Salyut AL-31F M2, which is derived from Russian AL-31F engines that power Sukhoi Su-27. Latest reports indicate that low-rate initial production models of the Chengdu J-20 were equipped with Shenyang WS-10B, a variant of the engine developed for the Chengdu J-10. In the long term, the aircraft is planned to be equipped with the WS-15 engine, which is supposed to produce 180 kilonewtons of thrust and currently under development. Without the WS-15 engine, the J-20 is not capable of supercruise. A fighter jet that can't supercruise is technically not a fifth-generation fighter. Another aspect is the engine will have to be integrated with thrust vector nozzles to enable supermaneuverability, an important trait of a fifth-generation fighter, and this will be a very challenging task. China has bought Russian Su-35, which is powered by AL-41 F1S series engines. According to multiple sources, China initially wanted to get the AL-41 F1S as a standalone product. This indicates that Beijing is still finding it difficult to develop a homegrown solution and wants to reverse engineer the Russian one. Radar is like an eye for an aircraft. There was no budget limitation when the AN/APG-77 radar was developed for F-22 Raptor. No compromises were made, and this keeps it at the top even today. The AN/APG-77 radar features a low observable, active aperture, electronically scanned array that can track multiple targets under any weather conditions. It has a range of around 400 kilometers, or about 250 miles, against a 1 square meter target. This radar can also be used for electronic attack by focusing its signal on the enemy to overload their sensors. The radar changes frequencies more than 1,000 times per second to resist jamming and have low probability of intercept. Low probability of intercept means the enemy radar warning receivers are not able to detect that a radar lock has been achieved against it, and hence, opponents have little warning of an impending F-22 attack. China is still experimenting with different radars, which include the KLJ-7 and more advanced KLJ-7A's prototype, implying that the aircraft still doesn't have such an important aspect resolved yet. It's well known that Chinese engineering in this field is way less sophisticated than that of the US or Europe, and the performance of these radars won't challenge that of the Raptor. F-22 Raptor is developed from the ground up to be stealthy. F-22 is the stealthiest fighter ever built and has a very low RCS, radar cross-section, of only 0.0001 square meter. It achieves this due to its structural design, as well as the use of radar-absorbing materials, RAM. It can't be detected by most radars. Even if some radars are able to detect it, they'll find it very hard to track it and have a radar lock. Viewers may note that to target an aircraft, quality tracking is needed so that the missiles can be guided towards it. Hence, Raptor can strike without the enemy knowing it's there in the first place. Stealth is still very difficult to achieve, and it seems China has a long way to go. Reports have emerged that a Sukhoi Su-30 MKI of the Indian Air Force managed to detect the Chinese Chengdu J-20 jet fighter. The disclosure didn't come from an independent analyst, but rather from an official source. Indian Air Force Commander Arap Shah said, "The Sukhoi's radar can see them. The new Chinese jets are not so invisible after all. No special technology is required to detect the J-20, as it can be detected by ordinary radar stations." This elevates doubts about J-20, which was already regarded as a decorated 4++ generation fighter by many experts. Stealth is one of the key aspects of a fifth-generation fighter, and without it, the fighter can't be deemed as a fifth-gen jet at all. The doubt is strengthened by another report. Earlier this year, Russian news agency TASS stated, "We are expecting a response from China on our offer to purchase modern weapons and military equipment manufactured in Russia, including additional batches of Su-35 fighter jets. Viewers may note that China already has 24 Sukhoi Su-35, but now wants to add more. It's clear China knows about the limitations of J-20 and hence is still buying a non-stealthy 4++ generation from a foreign country.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.